actually so excited to start making book content because reading is my absolute love of my life. I have loved reading since I was a little girl. I basically felt like I was Matilda. When I was younger, if you didn't see me like this, there was probably something up with me. In this book, we are going to be talking about 4 books that I would sell my soul to read again. And going to go through many of the different reasons why. Some of them are purely just because I adore them. Some of them sparked my love of reading, and some of them I was like, what the hell, the whole way through, hence why they are a 5-star read. I'm going to start off with probably the weirdest one on this list, and that is Kensuke's Kingdom by Michael Morpurgo. Yes, it's a children's book, and do not butcher me or come at me in the comments for saying this name wrong. I can't pronounce it. I tried my best. However, I first read this book when I was about, oh gosh, I must have been about 11 years old or 8. Can't remember. I was young. I was definitely in primary school, and we were all reading it as like a group sort of situation. And I loved it then, but at the time I was like, this is way too long for my brain, and I forgot most of it. However, I can vividly remember this being one of the first books I ever read. So about 3 months ago or 2 months ago, I was like, I'm gonna buy it and read it again. And I sat there, and I kid you not, I absolutely devoured this. And I was sat there and I was like, if I loved it that much as a child, I love it even more as an adult. Like, it reminded me why I love reading. It reminded me why I love stories. And yeah, to me, this just captured the love of reading as an innocent child. So Kensuke's Kingdom, Michael Morpurgo. He has many other books out. However, this is the first one I remember reading, and for that, I love it. I'm gonna have to do a trigger warning on this next book. This is My Dark Vanessa by Katie Elizabeth Russell. As you can tell, she's tabbed. She is tabbed. And she also, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up. I annotated this. I annotated the hell out of this. If you've never heard anything about My Dark Vanessa, please, please, please Google trigger warnings before. Google trigger warnings. The only book I could compare it to is Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy because it has very, very, very similar themes. This is the first book I remember reading, and I genuinely was sat there like, what the fuck? I'm not going to give any spoilers because I would much prefer, if you do want to read something very dark, very twisted, and very, I know that's not a description word, but that's the only way I can describe this. It's like, I would rather you guys do your own research trigger warnings, because you're going to need this going into this. But I kid you not, as soon as I put it down, this is what I did. It was a bit more violent than that. Let me go and get the book. I couldn't put this down. And as soon as I finished it, I was like, what the hell? I've never read anything like this. The language and the detail that Miss Russell goes into, I've never experienced an author like this, and I'm pretty sure this is her debut novel, and she's not released anything since. I think this is her debut novel, and every couple of months I will go onto Google and see if she's announced a second book, but I don't think she has so far. As soon as she does, it'll be on pre-order, and instant 5-star read. I have never read anything like this. This is definitely in my top 10 favourite books at the moment, and that's what says a lot. These last 2 books have my heart, and I don't know which one to start with. We'll start off with Normal People by Sally bloody Rooney. I actually do not know where to start with this. Like, I have never related to a couple so much. I love them both. Love this book that much. I don't think the camera's going to pick this up, so I'll insert a clip if it doesn't. I have them tattooed on my wrists. That is how much I adore these characters. I don't know what it is, but I feel like their relationship is so relatable. It's raw, it's uncomfortable, and it's just... This is what I want to do with this story. Just put it in there. I think about them all the time. I think about this story all the time. How rude. I love how as soon as I start talking about one of my favourite books of all time, someone's decided to start trimming the hedges. If you get noise in the background, I am terribly sorry, but yeah, Normal People by Sally Rooney. If you are struggling at the minute in a reading slump, you can watch the TV show, but it's not the same as being curled up at 2 a.m, getting to fall in love with these characters and the journey that they go on, and the bloody ending. If anybody's seen the TV show, you'll know the ending, but I think the book makes it so much worse because we've spent hours with these characters and seen their relationship develop, and I was just like, no, love. And I think the point of that ending is loving something so much that you are willing to let them go, but also expect them not to be the same when they come back. Like, that expectation isn't there, and you love them enough to let that go. I can't. I genuinely can't. They have my heart and I adore them so much. I think I've said that about 10 billion times, but I will never, ever stop talking about this. I was going to get the tin tattooed on me, but I thought someone's going to think I've got sardines tattooed on me. I also don't like this coffee because I can't take this off. Drives me nuts. Authors, please stop putting stuff like that on your covers because I don't like it. Please and thanks. Oh God. Where on earth do I start with this? This is In Memoriam by Alice Wynne. I'm gonna cry when I think about this. I adore this so much. Again, debut fiction. Where the hell? I need a minute. This bloody book put me in such a slump that I literally went into the bookshop and I was like, I have just read this. I am in love. I am obsessed. Give me something that will get me to love it. Like, give me something that I will love just as much. This is what the librarian suggested to me, if I can find it. Birdsong by Sebastian Faulks. I haven't read this yet, purely because I don't know why. To be honest, I don't know why I brought this. Thinking that this was going to get me out of the slum of reading this. I don't know. It still smells like new, so you just sniff and appreciate the flop. Anyway, I know I have said this a lot in this story, in this video, but I would pay so much money to have the opportunity to read this again. Alice Wynne, whenever you release something new, I am there. I will pre-order. Yes, you have me right there. This is an LGBTQ piece of fiction. It's also historical war fiction, and it's raw. It's so raw. It's real. The love that they share, the trauma that's there. You are never going to read anything like this. Let me try and find an excerpt in this that will convince you to read this. Ah, I loved it that much that I put a photo of me and my best friend in there. I did not know that was in there. She tried to give herself a piggyback on this, so hence why my face looks like that. But no, I'm going to put that in my book collection because I do quite like that. Anyway, let me try and find a excerpt. Another thing I also love about this is some pages look like newspapers, and any like fallen soldiers that get described in this book, obviously I'm not going to tell you some of them, they do it as newspaper, which I thought was really, really cool. I'm just reading the first excerpt again and it's bringing such a smile to my face. If you are in a bit of a reading slump at the minute, these 4 books will get you out of here. Just a quick recap. This one made me realise why I love reading so much and why I started reading, and it consumed my life as a young girl and it consumes my life as an adult. This one, the reason I would tell you to read this is obviously please research trigger warnings. Mental health comes first. if you think this book is going to trigger you, do not read it. Please, for the love of Christ. This is so dark and twisted, and to see what goes on from her perspective, I don't think anything will be written the same as this. And if you have read Half of My Age by Jeanette McCurdy, and you're still on a hangover from that, you'll thank me later. If you want to read a raw and honest relationship that will literally make you fall in love with Connell and Marianne, I think about them daily. I have read hundreds, maybe nearly even 1,000 books in my life. These two characters will never, ever, ever leave my brain. And I think that is a testament as to why you should read Normal People. Oh my God. In Memoriam. If you love historical fiction, if you love LGBTQ fiction, and you really want to be impressed by a debut author, but no, I beg people to read this. If I have a recommendation for anybody, it is always this or Normal People. But no, thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. I am very much going to start making more and more book content. This is my love, this is my passion, this is something that I want to document, and this is something I do not want to hide from you people. Because one, I have very few people in the world that I can talk to in depth about books. So this is me just sat in my house talking to my phone because my camera decided to die. But yes, more book content will be on the way. I love you all. If you have stayed till this part of the video, comment your favourite book. I always need favourite recommendations, or a book emoji if you don't have one. And if you want to click the big red button, because I hate telling people to do this, I'd be very much appreciative, because I hope I can become people's book bestie. That is my goal. I love you all. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.